To Sag season, everybody. Here we are. So I don't know about y'all, but that Scorpio season, retrograde, whatever the hell, was rough. Really rough, emotionally, physically, mentally, on me personally. I know for a lot of other people also. So congratulations for making it through it, but also these cards are a sobering reminder that just because we're like, oh, Mercury's going direct now, oh, we're in Sagittarius season now, doesn't mean that everything flips on a dime and all of a sudden everything is 100% better and easier to deal with. And these cards, yes, are reflecting that and also reflecting how we can hold ourselves through that. And so we've got the Archangel card, this retrograde card, Five of Swords, Elk, and Blue Coral. So I want to start with the color cards because I initially pulled this card, retrograde, reflection and delay, and then because this, I was just like, we're done with retrograde. I need something more than just reflection and delay. I'm tired of reflecting and delaying. Yet, here I am, reflecting and delaying. Then I pulled this card to counter it, and Archangel, invoke the guardians. So, with these two cards, I think it's really important to understand that, again, like I was saying, delays don't just automatically stop because you want them to, or because planets change directions that we're viewing them in the sky, which obviously Mercury doesn't change directions. It has to do with things that I don't understand about astronomy. So look it up if you want to, but it has an effect cumulatively on us, but it doesn't just end. There's still delays. There's still things that are frustrating to us. I actually woke up this morning because I just got back from the emergent strategy retreat. I've been thinking about ways to interconnect it into my life and how I can continue with activism and building community and not get burnt out and not feel drained and whatever. And I had this dream that I had started a workshop about processing the emotional traumas and dramas of this retrograde season and ways in which that we could collectively work through that and understand what was going on with us and how we can integrate the lessons and move past them. And it felt really empowering to have that dream, and it seems like something that I would like to do in the future, but also today I just didn't have it in me. I didn't have it in me to start building the structure of a workshop and figure out how I was going to market it and figure out who was going to come, if anybody even thought that it was worth anything. I was just like, my back still hurts. I'm still trying to figure out my life and trying to make sure that I have rent in December. It's okay. It's okay to be delayed in that. That is something that I do really want to do, but I can't force it to happen just because it's something that I want to do. It has to be a process of figuring out how I would like to do that, how I can schedule that into my life, and how I can also create the sustainability that I need to have the time to be able to organize something like that. And this card, the Archangel card, was a really good reminder of just the fact that it is necessary not to feel like you have to figure everything out on your own and that you have to somehow make life better immediately so that you can do all of the projects that you want to be doing. But what is most important is checking in with your ancestors, connecting with them, making an altar, speaking to it like as often as possible, giving offerings as much as possible, interchanging things on the altar so that you're keeping it fresh and you're keeping yourself fresh and you're keeping it fresh for your ancestors or your spirits or whoever it is that you're working with. So these two cards work in conjunction. Like, yes, delays happen and are going to continue to happen regardless of retrograde or not. But the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself is meditate, talk to your spirit guides, create sacred space for yourself, create ritual space for yourself, do the rituals to move yourself through all of this processing and whatever, the deep, dramatic Scorpio shit. We're in Sagittarius season, but we're still shaking it off, you know? It's still, and then Sagittarius season is its own can of worms, because in the northern hemisphere here, we get a transition into the cold season, and then we have to deal with the death of the plants around us, or the seasons, the year. 2020 is breathing down our necks. Not that that means anything, because it doesn't, really, except for elections, I guess, but are those real? I don't know. But then we got the Five of Swords to stack everything else on top of it. Five of Swords is a card about air element. 5, so it's right in the direct center of the 1 through 10 numerological scale. It's the center of the story. It's a problem and a solution all wrapped up in one. It's this frustrating thing that's happening where all of these swords are flying around and they're cutting the earthworm in half. But the beautiful thing about an earthworm is you cut it in half and both sides survive. Both sides can continue to live and continue to procreate. So it's a beautiful thing to know that no matter what is going on right now, you're not dead yet. Unless you're dead, but then you're not watching this video. So if you're not dead yet, there's still opportunity. There's still opportunity for you to do what you want to do, to move through this uncomfortable period, to turn off the negativity in your mind and remind yourself of what it is that you're doing. And if you have a hard time with that, tell your ancestors, tell your spirits, I'm having a hard time with this negative thought process. I need some guidance. I need some hope. I need you to put something in my path that's going to help guide me to having this less harsh feeling on my shoulders, to allow me to have some joy and some levity in this life so that I can continue knowing what it is that I'm fighting for or working for. Then we have the Elk, and this card I think was presented in terms of like spiritual help. It's an earth card, so it's grounding us into our earth element. It's also asking us to not fear these dark places that classically are something to be feared for humans. To walk through the forest, the elk has no problem walking through the forest. The elk lives and is the king of the forest even. And we are afraid of the forest because it's dark, we can't see what's going to come around the turn, what's going to come after us, but the elk is not afraid. The elk is bringing this energy of majesty, of royalness, caring for these dark places within ourselves and how we move through them. Whenever I think of the darkness, I think of subconscious. These realms of things that are ingrained in our cellular tissue, in our muscle tissue, our muscle memory, the triggers that come up for us, and how we move through these triggers and how we react to them is telling of who we are and how far we've come. This card is really telling you to stay grounded through the emotional processes, stay grounded through the delays, and to know that no matter what's coming up for you, it's okay. It's okay to allow that process to move through you. It's okay to allow yourself to move through the darkness and maybe not even know exactly where you're going, but you're being led by your spirit guidance, by your gut intuition, by your heart, by your third eye, by the synchronicities that are around in your life. Understanding that if you want to manifest something, you have to find a way to feel like you have it already. Ground into that reality. Ground into knowing that you are the muse in your own life. You are the majesty in your own life. You are a magnanimous human that has so much to give, and it's important for you to take your time to figure out what it is that you can give, whatever it is that you have the ability to give, and how to give to yourself. And this last card ties into that, the blue coral card. And so blue coral is a stone that is really centered around calming your nervous system, calming your emotional body, so that you can flow with the waters more easily. So we're breathing and we're allowing ourselves to be a part of the waves, the ebb and flow of life, and and this card and this particular stone is really about nurturing your inner child and nurturing yourself that is vulnerable in these times, because the retrograde stirred up a bunch of shit for all of us. And so it's important, as my dream workshop wants to do, to take these emotional realities and find a way to sift through them, to process them, and to allow the waters to really cleanse you and calm your energy. So thinking of this light blue card, also I'm drawn to the throat chakra and how we communicate ourselves more effectively, and this whole thing going around about like emotional labor and how people are utilizing that like transactionally with their friends, instead of what it was supposed to be, is not allowing people having to do emotional labor in the workplace, which is like work on top of their work. If you're in a situation where you are in community with people, it will do you better and you will build more trust with each other if you can make space to not purely look at your relationships transactionally, but look at them as we build trust by building vulnerability together, by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable to one another and to hold space for each other. And obviously, yes, you may not be equipped to do that at all the times, and sometimes situations strike you where people are taking advantage of your generosity and your energy, and you have to pull yourself back. But these are boundary conversations. This is not emotional labor conversations. This is not give me $20 before I get to hear about what your day is. No, we got to really like think about how we can hold and nurture ourselves and each other so that we can be more effective in community when shit goes down, because shit is consistently going down. And it's just if it's not going down for you right now, it will at some point, and you're going to need trust and community and people who want to work with you. And nobody's going to want to work with you if you are not willing to interact on a basic communicational level or hold space for them. If you can't hold space for anybody, why could anybody hold space for you? You know, like we really got to like think about these dynamics and how we're playing with them together and how we're holding each other and holding ourselves. So this card is really just coming up to make us think about that. Make us think about all of the emotional things that have come up, all of the frustrating things that have come up in the retrograde experience, and think about how we want to connect moving forward, how we want to take care of ourselves and take care of others moving forward. So I think that all of these things are really important. Protect your energy, protect your mental space and what you're allowing yourself to think about you and your process, and allowing delays to happen, and allowing your guardians to guide you through the delays, to give you the strength, the joy, and the power to remember that these little human problems that we're having are so minuscule in regards to time and reality or the universe or the multiverse. We are so much more expansive than just this time right now and whatever we're going through. And the more that we work on healing ourselves and taking care of ourselves properly and taking care of our community properly, the better future generations are going to be. Period. So blessings on this Sagittarius new moon, and I look forward to getting full force into the season and hopefully turning these delays into a solid foundation for comfort in myself and in my community. So see you next week.